Female Spiritual Great Teachers, Part 2, Neeru Ma. Hello, this is Chris speaking, Shores of Infinity, with a video about famous, also not so famous, but great spiritual female teachers. Part 1 was about the mother, Part 2 is about Neeru, or Neeru Ma. She had been a student of Osho, Gangaji, and also she was influenced a lot by Sri Ramana Maharshi and Byron Katie. If she's still alive, which I'm not sure about, then she's about 85 now. Seems that she had some health problems a few years ago, but that there was a camp last year, March, still in 2022, so she might still be alive. She's a Neo-Advaita teacher in the Hawkins Scale 600s. And when I knew her around 15 years ago, half of the year in India and half of the year in Europe, mostly Spain, Germany and Ukraine, mostly Spain. But in Goa, India, she had her main events, which she called later the AmaliaCamp, because she had this very, very cool idea to have her students own an Amalia. An Amalia is, you see it on the picture, some kind of fluffy puppy doll in a mouse bear-like style. With the help of the Amalias, it's easier to let go of the ego identification. And under her tutelage, I had my first amazing spiritual experience or state of consciousness. Unfortunately, at that time, I didn't know that higher states of consciousness are not necessarily permanent. To the contrary, if you don't be careful, they can go away again, which happens quite often. But implicitly or explicitly, we have been taught that once you're enlightened. This is not true. Most of the time it's peak experiences for a few days or weeks or months or even a few years, and then it can change in any direction. I did shout up about it, that was a good choice, but I also involved myself politically, which was a bad choice, so I fell out of it after 5 months or so. But I still stayed in contact with Neeru, and back then she helped me with some important decisions. So if you're ever in Goa, and she's still around, she used to be around Arambol, then check her out. Her main teachings are about how to stay present in the present moment, and also breathing, and also this Amalia thing. One cool exercise we had to do is go to a big marketplace and walk around with the Amalia and not be noticed. Back then I had rented a house in Goa and I stayed in the vicinity of Neeru for several months. She also coined the phrase that the only true book that could be written would be a very, very short or empty book with only one sentence in it. Truth is. Back then, she was one of those strict, abrasive teachers, like Jet and UG and so on, something I usually like. She had or has a very strong bullshit detector and doesn't let people get away with telling stories or some fantasy image of what enlightenment is and how to get there and why to get there. She's not very famous, but I guess to all who have met her, she became a pretty big influence. I have heard that during Osho times she had been quite a wild one, but something happened afterwards. And I know quite a few ex-Oshoites to whom enlightenment has happened. So there must have been something right that he did. So thank you very much, Neeru, for being there. That's it for today. Thank you to all my patrons. Thank you for joining me as a patron. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and see you soon. You're welcome to suggest other female gurus to talk about in these videos.